The Minister of Finance is saying her estimate is 25 to 30 billion. She's applying the same Pro Box maths. That she said you can use $2,000 a month for buy a Pro Box. The most conservative estimate for their program to reduce the income tax rate is $68 billion.
Bless up, baby, our family and viewers. Welcome back to the channel. It's your girl, and Isabel Rose. And in this one, Economist Raston Hyman weighed in before the economic debate. And he spoke briefly on Portland Spice TV. You can go over there and watch the entire live. But I have just a couple of minutes from that live and what he stated before the whole debate. He basically spoke of some of the things that he wanted to hear in terms of, building the economy and what plans does both parties have for same. He also spoke briefly on the increased income tax threshold proposed by the People's National Party and what it would cost versus the income tax cut via the Jamaica Labour Party and what it would cost. We heard a finance minister, Favour Williams, saying that their proposal will cost about 25 to 30 billion, according to technocrats. So, I know she work out anything. But all in all, Raston is basically saying that he's not for both of those plans, even though the People's National Party own would have cost less. And it would, cover a wider range of persons who are truly in need versus the Jamaica Labour Party own, who will just benefit those who are already rich and have it. But I want you to hear what he has to say and listen to the responses from the debaters on some of what he expected to have heard from the economic debate. Stay tuned for the details at hand. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Also, I want to big up my new member of the ABR membership, Online Genie. Big up yourself. Thanks for coming on board and joining the membership. You too can join the membership. Only a small fee per month. You get a lot of benefits by becoming a member of the channel.
The first one, Ralston, I want to look at my party's plan first. My party and party leader is saying that we're going to increase the tax threshold to $3.5 million. What will that cost the Jamaican people?
$70 billion.
$70 billion it's going to cost us. So, is it that we're going to have to put in new taxes to pay to afford the 70 billion? How that going to work out?
Depends on over what time frame you plan to implement it. The party leader and Julian said they are going to start in 2026. They never said that they are going to implement it one shot 2026. They said that they are going to start, and as the economy improves, then you will continue.
So they're going to phase it in.
Yeah, man.
So gradually, and then as soon as the economy gets better, they should get to 3.5.
Yeah, man. You do it as you go along and as the economy improves.
All right. So currently, Jamaicans are paying 25% income tax on people earning over what? 3.5?
1.7 million. Everybody over 1.7 million.
Over $1.7 million pays 25%. So the GLP said that they are going to cut that to 15%. So they're going to take 10% off of that. What will that cost the Jamaican people?
They also say that they'll do it over the medium term or a 5-year period. So they also say that they'll phase it in. That's $135 billion. Here's the equation. Income tax is $339.5 billion. That's 37%, 36% of all government tax revenues.
Yeah.
Right? So it means that for every 1 percentage point reduction, that's 13.58 billion. So a 10 percentage points reduction from 25 to 15 is $135 billion. $35.8 billion.
So $135 billion the GLP plan is going to cost Jamaica. How are we going to pay for that?
Well, they also say that they are going to phase it in as the economy improves. So they say it's a medium-term commitment. So they'll do that throughout the term if they get the third term and as the economy improves.
As an economist, Ralston, are these tax relief recommended? Would you recommend these?
No, because they are just transfer payments. They are just transferring money from yourself to yourself. And we noticed that we did it twice and it never really helped the economy. Remember, 5 in 4 based on the 1.5 million tax thing, you know. And we never hit 5 in 4. The economy is still struggling. And that was 2016. We just did 1.7 and the economy ended up in a recession too. So those things are just transferring money from yourself to yourself because they have to tax you back to get it if they are going to hit the fiscal targets that they set.
So none of these are really good promises, good promises.
These are just things to get votes, you know, but in terms of the economic effects are minimal. Because remember, it have to be revenue neutral. They have to get back the money because of the targets that they set in terms of the fiscal. Maybe we'll get a little shot now, a little better now because the debt to GDP ratio now is 62%. So they don't have to be so aggressive, yeah, since the target is to hit 60%.
Right, and as they said that they are going to phase it in, so it will come fast. But these are nothing that will really grow the economy. No. So we want to sign off those two promises as two not so good promises. Not so good promises, yeah, man. Just for election purposes, basically. So one will cost the Jamaican people 70 billion. That's the PNP. The PNP promise will cost 70 billion, and the GLP promise will cost 135 billion. Yeah, man. The debate on finance, the debate on Jamaican economy. What are you expecting to hear, Ralston? Well, I mean, we know that this is going to be a big ticket items, and my advice to the questioners, don't waste a whole lot of time on this because, I mean, this, as I said before, is not really going to give us any big economic moves. It's about transfer payments. Why are you about growth? So why are you about energy policy? Because the cost of energy, which is over 40 cents per kilowatt hour, is one of the biggest constraints to production, productivity, and our ability to compete internationally. So why are you about that? Why are you about the immediate problem that we have now with public sector wages? How you are going to deal with it? Because you're asking public sector workers to take a wage cut. That is what the JLP is asking them to do, right? So we want to know how you're going to deal with that because that is an urgent, unresolved matter that we have ongoing. We want to hear about what you're going to do about agriculture because part of the thing in order to reduce the import bill and to ease the pressure on the dollar is a dynamic agricultural sector fully integrated to the tourism sector. So I hear about that. Just a read Christine McLeod talked about the creative industry. I said the government must provide more support for the creative industry. We hear Dr. Stuart Davis from UNDP has said supporting the creative industry is not optional. It is an imperative if Jamaica is to take its place in the international community. So why are you about the support for the creative industry and its integration with the tourism industry and them things? We want to hear about the export policy. Right now, we have $4 in imports for every $1 of exports, running massive trade deficits at a time when the remittance flows are shrinking and will continue to shrink. So why are you about the support for exporters, the export policy? Why are you about that? Why are you about the training, back to the education thing, the training of the labor force? Because we have full employment and the economy in a recession and a flat line because the workers are not properly trained. So why are you about the kind of training that we'll give to the workers? Why are you about the incentive for the manufacturing and other sectors to invest in a more research and development and new technologies to drive exports? We want to hear about export diversification. What are the new markets? We are going to about trade in Latin America, the Caribbean, South America, Asia, and Africa, given what is happening, the stagnation in Europe and America. Those are some of the main things that we want to hear about. We want to hear about the investments in infrastructure because we are suffering from a state of infrastructure dereliction right now. We see some sudden bursts because of the election and then we want to hear about sustained maintenance of the country's infrastructure because you can't be productive if you don't have sustained maintenance of the country's infrastructure.
The cost of the increase in the threshold would be $55 billion. Now, no political party implements every single thing in 1 year. So we are going to ensure that the implementation is done, which protects the fiscal sacrifices that have been made, and will ensure that the adjustments are consistent with the budget. So it's $55 billion that this particular program will cost. And in terms of the readjustment of programs, that is something that we will do once we get into office. When we look, we have priorities which are different from the current government's priorities, and we will make those adjustments within the envelope of $360 billion, which currently exists for programs in the budget.
Thank you, Team PNP.
On Sunday, the JLP promised to reduce income tax to 15% over a phased basis if it secures a third term in government. This is estimated to cost the country around $135 billion. Where will the money come from to accomplish this, considering there is projected to be a $35 billion deficit in the budget, and given that many people work in the underground economy?
I'm not sure where that number came from. Our number, based on the technocrats who did it, put it at between 25 to $30 billion. That's our number. That is doable. We are the party that did the 1.5 in a responsible way. We are the party that moved the threshold from 1.5 to 1.7 to 1.8. Next year it'll be 1.9 and then 2.0. We know how to handle the tax affairs, the revenue affairs of the country, and we are going to move with this in a responsible way over time, ensuring that we continue to give back to Jamaicans. You've seen us do the reverse income tax. You've seen us do a number of initiatives, all with the goal of ensuring that the Jamaican people get back monies in their pockets so that they can provide more for themselves and their families.
I want to remind the country that the 1.5 that they boast about cost the country $31 billion in new taxes implemented by the Jamaica Labour Party. The Minister of Finance is saying her estimate is 25 to 30 billion. She's applying the same pro box maths that she said you can use $2,000 a month for buy a pro box. The most conservative estimate for their program to reduce the income tax rate is $68 billion. So where do you get your maths from? Tell the country, how will you finance it? Which programs will you cut? Where will the money come from?
And so, well-thinking Jamaicans, I want you to do your own assessment based on both plans and see for yourself. Analyze it, see for yourself which one would make more sense. Because if their own is going to cost $135 billion according to Raston, they're just doing it just to get votes. They must provide us with an answer as to how they are going to fund it and what programs they're going to cut. Because we're already hearing that this current budget is set to have a deficit of $35 billion. So a gimmick, them are come with there. So there's no way they're going to truly cut the 25% income tax to 15%.
The JLP government has presided over macroeconomic stability. Public debt has come from over 140% of GDP in 2013 to 70% in fiscal year 24-25. How will a PNP government build upon and improve this trajectory?
I think it's important to set context for the question that you have asked. When they left office in 2011, the country was on the precipice of economic collapse. When we got in 2012, we had to restore Jamaica's credibility. We had to establish EPOG. We strengthened and enhanced the fiscal rules. We legislated the debt to GDP ratio so that any government, PNP or JLP, had to pay down that debt. Portia Simpson Miller and Peter Phillips started that race. We passed the baton. We are the persons responsible for the fiscal responsibility that exists today, and we will continue that when we get into office again. The lived reality, notwithstanding the macroeconomic numbers of most Jamaicans, It's a struggle to put food on the table. When you go to the supermarket or the corner shop, you pick up things and you have to put it back down. If you suffer the misfortune of going to a hospital, you have to sit down on one chair for 2 or 3 days. And what we have seen at Cornwall Regional, it moved from 1.5 billion to 25 billion. That is the waste that we will eliminate so we can put money back in the hands of the Jamaican
Thank you very much. According to the World Bank, the Jamaican economy average annual growth over the last decade is around 0.8%. Why is this? And what will you do to get it to around 5%?
Thanks for that question. Thanks for that question on growth. There have been many impediments to growth, and we have seen that documented in many places. If you look at the impediments, they include training, and we're doing that, 500,000 trained. Another impediment to growth is the high electricity cost, and we have taken the decision to not continue on that bad JPS contract because we know we need to have lower electricity costs.
What they haven't spoken about is how corruption has impacted that growth. How our foreign direct investment has moved from 900 million in 2015 to 300 million today. That 11 of them are under investigation for illicit enrichment. I, Julian J. Robinson, can categorically state, I am not under investigation. Can the 3 of you say that? We need growth. We understand the assignment now. We have consolidated our economy. We have to improve the outcomes in education, which have been poor. You talk about energy. It took you 8 years to put out a request for a proposal for renewables. Why? Because of the corruption at the Ministry of Education, where you see 4 ministers over 8 years. What we will do to ensure that the banking sector is more competitive, we are going to ensure government deposits. There's a system to ensure that all banks participate in government deposits.
Thank you.
We recognize the importance of our creatives. That's why we are establishing a $1 billion fund. Not like the film fund that has disbursed zero, but a $1 billion fund for creatives, for artists or singers or potters, the people who create content so they can build their businesses.
ABR family and viewers, it is no secret that the plans and policies and programs from the PNP's manifesto are workable and they make more sense than even what the incumbent has proposed. Time come for a better life. What says you in the comment section? Me you wanna say? Don't forget to like, share and subscribe to the channel on the road to 50k. Help me to get this video to at least 7,000 likes. Stay tuned for more videos, stay tuned for more updates. Big up on yourself.